Hey, welcome to another episode here with Queen City Reefs and more. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I truly appreciate it. Please consider subscribing, please consider hitting that like button, and please consider leaving a comment below and let me know what you thought. All right, so what is today's video about? Well, like you read on the title, it is a switch of skimmers. So I have two skimmers on this Innovative Marine 80-gallon that you'll see here in a minute. I have a Toonsy, I want to say it's a 9002 or 9004 Nano Skimmer, and then I also have an Eshopps Nano Skimmer. And so today's discussion will be switching out the Eshopps one for the new Sicce Shark Skimmer. It's a new line that they're providing, and it seemed very promising. Actually, I like trying anything new out, you know, why lie? But there's a good reason, though. I'll let you know. So that's what we'll be covering, but I wanted to talk and kind of give y'all a review of the Eshopps before I disconnected, because after I disconnected, I'm going to clean it up and I'm going to put it up for sale. And then we'll be connecting the new Sicce Shark Skimmer, like I mentioned. This is going to be the 300, which is the largest of the two that they provide. This is rated for up to 80 gallons. If you know anything about skimmers and how they rate them, they normally rate them with low, medium, and high bioload. I believe 80 gallons is their low bioload. Now that you know what we'll be discussing, we're going to be switching that. I'm going to be giving you an unboxing experience and a first thoughts. And I'm also going to be giving you a long-term review on the Eshopps. If this is what you came on here to see, please make sure to hit that like button. It really helps. The best thing you could really do for me really would be to subscribe, and especially to hit that like button. Hitting the like button then does something magical to the algorithm on YouTube, and it will share my video with all other hobbyists just like you. So please do me that favor, hit the like button. So this is what we're here to talk about today. Not the Toonsy Skimmer, but the Eshopps Skimmer that you see right here in front of you. This is the Nano Skimmer. I'll put the exact name in the bottom left-hand corner there. So, if you are interested in something like this, I'll put a few links of where you can find this skimmer. I will tell you right now, you know, without you having to watch the whole video, it is a very good skimmer. Definitely a very good skimmer. But the reason I'm switching it, it's because it's rated for nano tanks. 15 to 20 gallon, I think I want to say that this is rated for. And it shows. It shows because this thing will get full in about 24 hours. And that is another thing. The cup itself is small. Look at my hand. If you could see here with my hand, the cup is literally small. And therefore it fills up in the, at least 24. The most I've seen it last, and that's because I'm adjusting it, would be maybe 2 days. But by then it's already full. And I've never really been able to get a dark skim mate. I've been able to get a pretty neutral dark tea color skim mate, which I'm content with. I feel like the dark skim mate is really whenever you don't have that high of a bioload, so you don't want it to pull out as much. In this case, I only had 3 fish, but for some reason, and you'll be able, or I guess you won't be able to see in there, but for some reason, my white filter floss turns dookie brown. And I'm not understanding why it gets so dirty so quick, but this skimmer is working 24/7. And the main reason I'm switching it is just as simple as that. It's because the cup, I'm having to empty it out every 2 days tops. And if you know me, and a lot of you I think know me, I don't like to have to empty or fill things up that often. That's why you'll find that I have a lot of oversized ATO containers that last 2 to 3 weeks before I have to fill them back up. Now, compared to the Toonsy, let me bring you over here. I guess you can say that it fills up faster than the Toonsy, and that's not me saying that the Eshopps works better. It could be because this one has control of the air intake here, and maybe I just haven't set it to the same level as the Eshopps. The Eshopps actually does not. The pump itself, and you know what, I'm going to pull it out in a minute, and you know what, let's do that. I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I like about it and how it differs from this Toonsy and how I think it's going to differ from the Sicce. So I'll be right back with you. And while we wait, say hello to Georgie. A lot of you know, because I'm doing that giveaway, know that I also breed Westies, and this breed, if you don't know what a Westie is, it's a West Highland White Terrier. And this is the boy. This is George. Charlotte, the mother, is upstairs. George. Good boy. So if anybody is interested, we have a page, Queen City Terriers, and you'll be able to keep an eye out on when the puppies will be born. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, definitely reach out. All right, enough of a self-plug again. I guess before I do pull out the Eshopps here, I wanted to show how fine these bubbles are. And I mean, it tells you this is a workhorse. For being a small skimmer with a small pump, I'm actually very happy with it. I'm rethinking about selling it now. I do have other tanks that could possibly potentially need skimmers, but I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll definitely talk about that in different videos. I'm gonna put it up for sale. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, then always, we'll put things to good use. Look at that. But you see how fast these bubbles go up and over the overflow? That tells you in 24 to 48 hours, this thing will be full. And so, although I love the way it works, I don't love the fact that I have to empty it so much. For now, I just wanted to really show you the beauty of that foam right there. I mean, you never would think that you'd be so mesmerized over foam, right? But all right, let me pull it out for real this time. All right, so here you have it, the Sicce and the Eshopps. As you can see, it's small. It's definitely fit very well in that back chamber with room to spare. The issue came with the magnet. Right here, it feels pretty strong, but because that glass is thick, and I want to say it's about a quarter to maybe even more, about a quarter inch thick, anytime there was added weight to it, when this would get full, it just took that little bit more for it to start sliding down. And it has rubbers right here. Maybe this side should have had rubbers and that would have helped. But it slid down, and then I would have to do little things like put this on the side to rest against the light bar that was there to try to keep it to level in order to skim at the right amount. And moving this also was an option, moving this up and down. But the reality is that glass was too thick. It's not rated for this type of a small pump, and I wanted to try something different. And that's when I saw the Sicce and how the magnet is actually up to 15 millimeters. So that puts you at a little bit over ½ an inch. And it's actually waterproof. I love that. I love that the magnet can be put inside. And so in case it doesn't fit where I want it, I might be able to have other options. I don't know. We're about to see. The other thing, and you don't think about these things until you have something. This is hard, right? This right here is hard to pull off. I mean, not hard in the sense like, oh my God, I'm struggling. But because this was so weak, when I would try to pull it off, I would move this and then it wouldn't be in the correct area. And then I would struggle having to try to put it and do the whole jimmy of this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I would never get it back to the same spot. And so sometimes that's why I say 1 to 2 days, because depending on the height that I would put this at would depend on whether it would last up to 2 days or not. And then you would see foam coming off through here, when it was too deep because I moved it or whatever the case is. So I was biding my time. I was waiting to be able to have some extra cash from all the corals that I've sold. So yes, that's a segue into, if you don't know already, check out my website at www.queencityreefs.com. I have amazing coral at amazing prices. If it's homegrown, if I grow it out myself, it's even better prices. But if it's a special piece that normally you don't see and I can't grow, like, Trachyphilias or Scolies, then I try to do my best at pricing them very competitively in order to be able to get those at a good price for you. But definitely there's a lot more corals there that you will find for, $20, $25. I don't say it on there, but if you're willing to buy bulk item, like if you're willing to buy a frag pack or something like that, choose different frags or something like that, reach out to me. I'll give you a code to be able to use in order to get a discount for buying multiple items. I definitely don't mind doing that. But that being said, this is what helped. I was able to get this based off some corals that I was able to sell and make a little bit of money on. Most of it is getting invested right back into the hobby and getting, thanks to y'all, getting my wife to not overreact whenever I purchase new things, because all I gotta say is like, hey, that's from the money I made on Queen City Reefs. I bought that, from what I made to Queen City Reefs, and then be able to bring that to y'all. Now, before I end the discussion on this one, This here is controlled by the height of the water, and then the pump itself actually has a lever right there that you can control the amount of water that it brings in by reducing it, you know, with this lever right here. That's really it on this one. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. This is really a truly great skimmer, and I've had a few nano skimmers that I feel that this does a better job than, you know, like the bubble magus. I don't know if you've seen the videos that I did on the 15-gallon where I introduced the bubble magus mini Q or something like that. Although a great skimmer, and although it did pull out, it does pull out still because my daughter's using it, some good skim mate. It gets dirty so quickly, the pump does, that you have to clean it more often in order to get that same production. And so although, you know, I think it's as good as this one when it comes to pulling skim mate, I didn't have to clean this pump that often. And so that's other things to consider, but that other one truly does fit in nano skimmers. This one won't fit in that skimmer because of this pump, how, you know, you have to take into account the diameter of this area right here in order to get it into one of those areas where the skimmer would go. I keep saying I'm not gonna make this video long, and I keep talking and talking and talking. All right, so that's that. And so this is what we're switching it out for. And according to my measurements, it should fit just right, except for the light mount that I think is gonna be in the way, and I'm gonna have to push that a little bit to the left, but we're about to see. This is rated for up to 80 gallons. So I bought only one. You notice that I had the Eshopps running and then the Tunze skimmer running. I was thinking about possibly getting the 150 instead, because if you can see right there, there's two different ones. There's a 150 and the 300. This is the 300. And I was debating of whether I should get the 150 instead and get two of them, one for each side, because there's water that runs through two different overflows. And my goal was to try to get as much of that water into the skimmers as possible. But the cup itself is supposed to be bigger with this and larger and able to hold more skim mate. So then that was my deciding factor. And so here's the cup. Let's see. I mean, this is just a field test. And just the field test by itself. Oh, I did forget to talk about something else. This feels more, I don't know why, but this feels more well-made, more solid, while this Sicce right here feels very plasticky and that I can break it very easily. But the other thing I forgot to talk about was the inside of the cup. I already said how this is much smaller, but one of the issues I had is being able to clean the sidewall. So I do have a little scrub brush that I can get to the side, but I couldn't get to the bottom of that. And so you'll see some yellow tint at the bottom. And if you are like me, I like to clean, when I get to cleaning these things, I try to clean them as best as I can. And with this, I shouldn't have an issue because it's completely wide open to be able to clean it just right. This right here is the lid. Also feels, compared to this lid, like, look how thick this is. Compared to this right here, if I can get it to focus, there it goes. Compared to that, it's definitely seems to be not as well made. Now I will say that the Eshopps is more expensive by like 20 bucks or something like that. Oh look, that's cool. A brush is included. Here is the body itself of the skimmer, and I already tore it up. Well, while we have it open, you can see there's the Sicce pump right inside. And with this tubing, so, and I'm guessing this just sits on here. So this is gonna be a lot easier to really disassemble, because if you notice, this just comes off. And I guess the weight of this is supposed to kind of make a seal around that O-ring right there, to be able to make sure that there's no skimmage coming out of that area. So definitely long-term review. I'll keep you posted on how I like that. This definitely has only a one way that it goes. So that device right there goes straight into this area right here. You can't put it in any other way and it won't really sit right. It has to go exactly like that. Magnet itself, oh yeah, magnet itself. Way stronger than the Eshopps. And this claims to be waterproof, where you could put it inside an area where it would fit better, I guess. So last thing to do right here, I believe there was, these are the air regulators. So this skimmer itself will have a way to regulate the air that comes through it. So I was trying to figure out what this was used for. And for those that don't know, the 300 is ozone compatible. The 150, I did not see anywhere it's saying that's ozone compatible. And so what this is in order for, if you're gonna use ozone with it, you can connect this to here, and then on this end, you can connect the ozone generator, and I'm assuming here's where you would control it. But since we're not doing that, this goes right in here, and I guess you can control the air with it. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing more to it. I'm gonna go connect it and then wait to see how long it takes to create some skimmate, and then I'll bring y'all back when that skimmate is being created. All right, don't forget, if you like what you see and if this is your type of content, then definitely please consider subscribing. Please consider hitting that like button and leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any questions for the long-term review of this unit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that this actually did not fit. So I'm gonna have to return it and order the 150, but I think I'm gonna do 2 of the 150 since they're smaller versions. But it's definitely disappointing because I did measure, but it literally, like, I would have to squeeze it. And one thing I failed to mention and failed to realize, and I think y'all should know too, is that this actually intakes water from this area. So you're supposed to put it at a level where it says water level right here, and it intakes water from like a skimmer. As for the 150, intakes water from the bottom. I'm disappointed because I was really looking forward to having this bigger skimmer, but you know what, ish happened. So I'm gonna return it and then order the 150. All right, this is actually about 2 to 3 weeks later. As you can see, it was a big fail on the last clip where I thought I was gonna be able to connect that skimmer, and because of size, I am not. So here we are. If I was able to return it, and then you just purchase this one, which is the Shark Skimmer 150, the smaller brother of that 300. And so I'm excited. I really wish I could have had the big one, but it's impossible in this tank almost, unless I do some modifications, which I didn't feel like doing. So this is the 150. We're gonna see how it works. I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna show it here to you in a minute. Let's take a look. From my understanding, it is the same magnet, so it should have the same strength, which is one thing I for sure am looking forward to. You have the manual here, but I don't think we really will need that. Let's go ahead and just put this together. I just need to put the silencer together in order to then connect it. My understanding really is that this one did not, I'm not saying it's not, did not advertise as being able to connect ozone to it, yet that little thing that came on the 300 for ozone is part of this one as well. But not connecting ozone, at least not anytime soon, to this. Taking away the little hose. For the hose, there is a connection right over here, which is where the air intake will happen. Just get it all the way to the bottom. What's nice about this is, if you saw on one of these previous clips when it came to the Tunza, you saw that the air silencer itself is just hanging about. There is a way to put it, but because I ended up having to put the actual magnet inside the water, then I can't put the air silencer connected to that. Normally it would go connected to the magnet on the outside magnet in order for it to have a place to rest. The Eshopps didn't have anywhere for it to rest, so it just hung everywhere or anywhere. And then this one has a place to rest here on the thing. But when you want to clean this out, you're definitely going to have to then unhook this, because you're going to have to clean the skimmer lid as well. Unhook this from here and then just, you know, take everything there. So I don't know if eventually that will become tedious or not, but for now I appreciate it. So you kind of have to stretch it all the way out, because if you don't, then it pushes the skimmer, and since this skimmer is not held by anything, it just sits there with an O-ring on top of it, then, you know, it kind of doesn't let it stay straight, you see. So if you push this out all the way, then you have to actually finagle it until you find the correct spot for it. There it goes. So pretty much all the way out, and that's where it stays still. All right, I'm gonna connect this now, and I'm gonna bring you back to it and show you how it's working. All right, I wanted y'all to have the same experience that I am, which is gonna be turning this on and seeing how it works immediately out of the box. Now, I did want to say something before I do turn this on, And that is that I'm a bit disappointed because it actually did not fit the long ways where the magnet would be on the outside. And so for whatever reason, this measured by 0.2 inches less than the 300, but for whatever reason, I felt like the 300 was actually going down. I would just have to squeeze it. And this one, I couldn't even squeeze down. So not sure what's going on there, but I ended up having to not modify, but I put it sideways to where now the magnet is actually in that area. I had to move the pump that belonged to the UV sterilizer out of here and put it back in here where the rest of the water goes, which I didn't feel like it was ideal, but that's fine. And so they ended up putting it sideways with a lot of room to spare, which now the question is, should I have kept the 300 if I was just gonna end up putting it sideways, right? The one thing that I will say that I like about this one is that this one draws water from the bottom. We'll see how this one works and we'll go from there. Let me turn it on. Here we go. Oh, you immediately heard the sound on that. I'm assuming that after a few hours, maybe days, it will go way more silent than that. But let's get a little bit up close and see what it looks like inside. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna leave you here. I'm gonna come back here in a little bit for y'all. I'm gonna let this run for a few hours maybe before I decide to start editing this video. And I will keep you posted on how it is actually, it's supposed to be an instant skim type of skimmer. At least that's how TSA advertised them. And it looks like it's already creating bubbles. So I don't know if it's gonna need a breaking period or not, but I will definitely keep you posted. All right, I'll catch you here in a bit. All right, and we are back here a few hours later at the Sicce Shark Skimmer. And let's see what it's done so far, if anything. Well, look at there is some foam. Look, there's a little bit of foam at the bottom of this cup, and that actually excites me. It seems to be creating some really, really good bubbles, as you can see. It is definitely a little on the dry side, and I'm gonna let it run for some time here so that we can give it a long-term review, and I'll come back to doing a long-term review here in a few months for this skimmer itself to let y'all know how it works. But so far, I'm very content. I love the power of the magnet. The body of it does not move. Unfortunately, it didn't fit the long ways like I wanted it to, but this will do for now, and seems like it might turn out to be a pretty good skimmer. I'm not taking back the fact that the plastic seems a little thin, the body of it seems a little thin, and it seems like it's not as well made as the other one that I had. But you know, so is this Toonsy. If I had to compare it, I would compare this to the Toonsy and the quality of the plastic being thin and light. And maybe that's the point, right? You know, when I see some other skimmers that the body of it is thick acrylic and it just looks very stern and like it's not gonna break, I feel like this one, you drop it, you will break it. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, because at the end of the day, what matters is, does it do its job? Does it skim? And it looks like it will, but I'll keep y'all posted. And until a few more months, I'll give y'all a long-term review. I hope you enjoyed this episode here. I hope you really consider subscribing if you're not already. I hope you consider hitting that like button. I'll catch you on the next one.